In the gym and in the car, with our advice you could go far. We fuck things up and we make mistakes, and talk about our sexy dates. We host events and go to clubs, but most of all we're still in love. It's getting hard for this to rhyme, just as well cause it's bed hopping time. Hello and welcome to the Bed Hoppers podcast. My name's Mr. H.
I'm Mrs. H.
Welcome to the episode. It doesn't have a number. Well, it probably does somewhere. There is a number that exists out there. But this episode is titled How to Rock a Three-Way. And in this episode, we are going to reveal our secrets to rocking a three. Well, actually, we're just probably going to talk about a few three-ways that we had recently and maybe give you some of our things that we like, things that work well, things that didn't work well. And hopefully you'll enjoy it along the way, right?
A good magician never reveals his tricks.
Well, you know, that's what people have tuned in for. That's the title. So I'm going to do my very best to show them how to rock a three-way, which in no way implies that I'm an expert in this at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're not
how
fuck messiah.
I'm not Lord Fuckington of Fucktown.
Okay.
But I'm going to try and do my very best, along with you, of course, because, you know, there are...
It's a three-way.
There are three people involved. We have a third person. We don't really have a third person here. That would have been helpful because then we could...
another three-way.
That would have been another three-way and we could have helped talk about that. However, before we get onto that, we have got some promotion to do.
Okay.
Right. 17th of August.
Yes.
We are taking over VA with the delightful Kate from Wonderlust Swingers.
Neon Dreams.
It's called Neon Dreams.
Yes.
This is going to be literally a dream, this takeover.
With neon.
With neon. A neon dream, if you will. We've got awesome stuff going on. We have sold out of our hotel takeover tickets. However, tickets to the club night are available. And we may also be sort of doing some deals for people to come along and do the pre-party and also come along to like the educational bits that we're doing on the Saturday, because we're doing things like dance classes, photography skills, all that good kind of stuff.
Right.
It's going to be awesome.
Educational stuff.
Education or sex education. I don't know. Sex education. I don't know. Sexy educational. One of those things. One of those words is what we are doing. And you can come along and take part in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to be hopefully offering some additional tickets so you can come along to those bits so you don't miss out on all the pre-stuff. But if you don't want to be fucked with all of that, you can still come along to VA and have a fucking banging night. And the way you do that is getting tickets using the links on the show notes.
Got you.
Yeah? Come along. It's going to be really cool. We'd love loads of people to be there and for there to be really an epic, awesome party. So, come along and be part of the awesome Wonder Hoppers, as we've become known. It's like Wanderlust and Hoppers, Bed Hoppers, squeezed together into Wonder Hoppers. It's a Wonder Hopper production.
Smash.
Yeah, a word smash.
I like a word smash.
I do. I enjoy it. Is it a portmanteau or is that something different? I can never remember.
Yeah, okay.
Seems like it might be something that suits that name from what I can recall, but I can neither confirm nor deny such things. Anyway, let's get on to the topic that I want to talk about, which is how to rock a three-way.
How good you are in three ways.
Well, I can neither confirm nor deny my greatness in a three-way.
Well, you keep having them, so maybe people like them.
Well, the reason why we thought we'd bring this topic up is because over the last, month or so, we've had three-ways.
It sounds like a complicated maths algorithm.
So it's like a 9-way.
And okay.
Maybe. I don't know. These have all been three-ways with ladies, and that's pretty much your preferred option, isn't it?
Well, I think it's your preferred option.
Well, yeah. I mean, I get a lot more from that.
I was going to say, what would you do in a three-way that involves two dudes?
I would listen to a podcast where someone tells me what I need to do on that first.
You wouldn't like it, though.
I don't know that. It's not that I wouldn't like it. It's just it's only ever happened once.
I was going to say, we have had one once.
And the fact is that that would involve some level of organisation from you.
Oh, I see.
So the chances of it actually happening are minuscule.
So the one that did happen was just circumstance.
It's absolutely
no organisation for me whatsoever.
Yeah, that's 100% what happened.
Right.
That is 100% true. Because the chances of you're doing your TikTok, that continues, right?
Oh my God.
You may have done 2 or 3 more,
TikTok.
right?
It's a wonderful thing.
It is an amazing thing. But in terms of logging onto the sites, replying to messages, answering emails and all the other sort of fabmin as we've come to call
like
it.
Stuff I don't want to do.
No, it is indeed stuff that you haven't done. In fact,
okay.
you read a message from a couple, right, the other day. And you went, oh, look, there's a message.
And then you did nothing with it. So I assumed because you read the message and you pointed it out to me that you would respond.
That was your first mistake there, Mr. H.
Well, making assumptions.
Making an
Did
assumption
I make an ass out of me?
because I read
mostly?
a message, I'm going to do something with it. Oh dear, I'll try and be better.
Well,
Maybe.
I think this is just the life I've got to live now. This is it's my lot in
Your
life.
lot in life.
I was made to suffer. So,
unfortunately, you don't suffer when it's a three-way.
You say that, but we'll
One
see.
assumes you enjoy them.
One hopes that I do. I shall send out some surveys to myself and reply to them as soon as I get
Like
chance.
a survey monkey.
You know, I would do, but I'm too busy doing all the other admin along the way.
Right down. So dramatic. So what have you got to talk about with his three-way then? Like how to have one?
Well, I think sort of finding the right person to have a three-way is the
Always
first
good.
important step. And we've had a couple of three-ways with people that we already know quite well.
Yeah.
And then had a recent three-way with someone that we didn't know so well.
Ah, yes.
We didn't anticipate necessarily sexy times.
Well, that's actually quite enjoyable.
What, that drink?
No.
I just took a big gulp of a drink and went, oh, that's quite enjoyable. Oh, yes, it was. It's a cocktail that I've made. But
that was just happened to be good timing on my part.
okay, good.
No, I mean, weirdly enough, I think sometimes three ways fall into that kind of almost organic kind of develops into a sexy thing without having to do too much orchestration.
Okay.
Whereas foursome, and I appreciate this is a sweeping generalization and not one I can back up with any statistics, requires more moving parts and organization sometimes because there's you have to make the moons align and diaries align and all the rest of it. Whereas a three-way sometimes seems just like this is happening. Off we go.
I don't know. I'm not so sure. Because I think the first couple that we had, it's in a couple of three ways with ladies over the last month, in this recent batch
that
of them.
one was organised, fine.
Both of them were organised, pretty much.
Okay.
I mean...
And the third one, though, was not organised.
The third one was not.
It was a wonderful surprise.
So that was with someone that we sort of knew and we were catching up with, but didn't know that it was going to turn into a level of sexy times, right?
Correct.
What happened? Tell us about it.
Well, we did arrange to have some drinks.
Yeah.
That much we did arrange.
Yeah. And at any point in your mind when you were arranging these drinks, were you thinking, something's going to happen?
Well, you've said to me in the past that I've asked you in the past, do you ever go into kind of social meets, any kind of meeting with a person or persons who you've met through this lifestyle with any degree of expectation? And I asked you if you put any preparation in to these potential meets. And you said yes, because in the back of your mind, you sometimes think, well, it's nice to be prepared just in case something does happen.
Well, it goes back to your mum telling you to put clean underwear on in case you get hit by an ambulance, right?
And you want the paramedics to compliment you on your nice matching underwear.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. It's like, you're going into not a battle, but you're going in to meet somebody. And I think there is the potential or possibility of something happening.
All the things line up well, then
and
it
often,
could go into something.
Yeah, it's the times when I've not expected them to go, like it's just a social catch up or whatever.
Yeah.
And it has gone sideways where I've kind of gone, okay, now this is happening. I don't have, condoms with me. I don't have lube or whatever, or toys or anything like that. And I'm unprepared.
So this is interesting because I often think of you as a spontaneous kind of very much embracing the unexpected sometimes kind of personality.
Yes.
You like chaos and you like things being just spur of a moment.
I do.
You do. So do you then prefer a three-way that happens just, naturally through all moving parts fitting together, or do you prefer the organisation that goes into pre-arranged things like this?
They both have their own merit, I think. I like to be at least a little bit prepared, albeit if it's just a case of tidied myself up and wearing something nice or whatever.
But you've just said that you always do go into these things feeling like you've put some effort in anyway, ready?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. So regardless of whether it is a play situation or not, there is at least a bare minimal amount of effort that I'm putting in. That's like, okay, I'm going to at least do this and this and this. So if I do get...
If I get lucky.
But if things change, because you never know how the winds are going to blow sometimes. And I love chaos, but I like it within a framework. Right. And this is within the rules that we have or within my own boundaries or our own boundaries. I like playing within that space. And I think actually if some play may happen, I would rather be prepared than regret or resent not being prepared in the first place. Sure, play may carry on happening or whatever, but there may be a situation where actually we can't because, I don't know, we've been walking around town all day and we're stinky as hell and we can't have a shower, or whatever it might be.
God.
Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. However, the reason I ask you this is because our very, very, very first accidental foray into this wonderful journey was indeed a near kind of situation where a threesome potentially could have happened through a series of drunken events with that woman in Fuerteventura at that time.
Yes, but you say it was a three-way, but that's actually bullshit because she had a partner.
Oh,
and
yes, I know.
The fact of the matter is...
He looked a little bit worried though.
Yeah, but you can't discount someone just because you didn't want...
I'm not saying it would have happened. I just remember the spontaneity being extremely exciting, and that's where the kind of, oh my God, this could happen because everyone's just all in a flirty mood.
I get that.
Yeah.
And I get that before, at this point, when the point you're talking about, we weren't actually in the lifestyle. We didn't have those like broad stroke boundaries and things in place.
We were
but also
fumbling around like a bit drunk, a bit merry, a bit flirty, and something nearly happened.
But also it doesn't help people listening whatsoever in the slightest. So like, I'll just go out and get drunk and hang around with a woman and then tell her other half that he's a waste of space and that you want a three-way with her. That's not the advice that we're giving here. And it's not helping anybody. So my take would be is I do appreciate both the sort of more organic, things are escalating versus the planned, we are going to fuck tonight kind of approach. I think both have their merits. I like the free-flowing, don't know, how's it going to pan out, what the excitement that goes with that. Of course, that can lead to disappointment because if it doesn't go that way and your hopes are up, then you can come away from the meet feeling a bit like, it would have been nice if we'd have done that. Yeah. And like you say, as much as you want to go in with no expectations, I think sometimes you can't help the fact that you do build a level of expectation or you build a level of interest.
All right. So in answer to your question then, did I go into this particular social meet? And because it was just hey, should we catch up some cocktails?
Yeah.
Did I go into that with any level of expectation? And the answer is probably a little bit.
Okay.
But I didn't necessarily think this is going to happen. I'm definitely going to wear my best underwear. But I did look forward to the drinks and I did have in the back of my mind that, see where this goes. I
think there was definitely an element of that. And I think through a series of circumstances, we ended up back at our house, right?
Yes, it was a series of circumstances. But yes, you're right.
Pub closed.
Yes.
No option to buy any more drinks. It was relatively early. So, hey, do you want to come back to our house? We have some drinks there.
Correct.
What did you think at that point?
Well, when you said that, I think in my head, I thought, I know what's happening here.
Face to face with greatness and a strange, you don't even know how you feel.
The fact that you led the invitation, said,
it's adorable.
Would you like to come back to our house?
Okay.
Made me think, okay. That is a fairly loaded statement if you're asking someone that you've just gone out and got a bit merry with and have previously already shared a couple of kisses with, a little bit.
There is a little bit of that. It's not a sealed deal by any stretch of the imagination.
It's really not. But also, there is some implication there that makes you think, I wonder if this is going to go somewhere.
And this is the thing, because it was quite a flirty conversation going on throughout the course of the evening, and only escalating in flirtiness as the evening was going on. Yeah. And at one point, you went to the bathroom. And I was just really honest. I was like, well, what's the deal with this? Did you want to have some sexy fun, or is this a social thing? What would you like to do?
And I didn't know that until relatively recently that you'd had that conversation at all.
Okay.
Correct?
Yeah, you didn't know that because you were in the bathroom.
Well, no, exactly.
And then when you came back, I went and got the game of lifestyle cards and things escalated.
You didn't say, we've had a little chat.
Well, I think it was fairly obvious.
Okay.
Well, you seem to roll with that punch quite quickly.
I did. And then when you went and got the card game, I thought, okay. Once again, I see what's happening here.
Well, I was reading the room rather well at this point, and I was definitely in a zone. And I think I was like, well, fortune favours the brave, and much like Schrodinger's cat, if you don't ask, then you don't get to play with the cat.
Correct.
So I thought, well, I'll ask. So we played with the cat.
So the cat was very much alive.
The cat was very much alive. And so we played the game of lifestyle, right? And I think that was a really good way of just
testing the water.
Testing the water, seeing how
she
things...
could have been like, oh, this is fun, but also a bit much.
Yeah.
And it would have been a perfect opportunity for her to then actually dial it down a notch if she needed to, or felt uncomfortable, or spin it out a lot longer if she really needed more to feel more comfortable.
Okay. So eventually the game of lifestyle, as inevitably it does after you get through like a couple of rounds, you're like, should we go upstairs? And there is a kind of, we don't need this anymore. We don't need these cards to guide our
breaks
sexy
the
time.
ice nicely and initiates some kissing and some articles of clothing and all the other things that you would expect from that girl.
I love how hilariously like first card for you was like remove an article of clothing.
Literally, I was wearing one thing.
And you were wearing, just that and your underwear, which was absolutely hilarious.
Well, there you go, green light.
Yeah. Well,
I guess I'll be taking this off.
And I want to point out that it wasn't that the underwear was hilarious, but it was hilarious that you had one item of clothing to remove. So that was cool. And we went upstairs.
Yeah.
Talk a bit about what happened. Talk about the sexy times. This is your mission.
God,
Go on. You got to do this now,
why
right?
do you make me do these things?
Because people love it.
Do they?
They do. They really do. Yeah. You got to really salacious this one up. Think of yourself. Your new name is Salacious Crumb.
It's not. I can't do that.
Yeah, you can.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Fine. Whatever. So we went upstairs.
Yeah.
And I think by this point you were both still wearing some clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
And it was apparently me that was just naked.
Yeah.
Because I lost at this particular card. Went upstairs. And then, as ever, you do your usual kind of routine of, well, I need some TV on and I need to make the lights look nice, which is all very lovely. But again, setting a scene is quite important for you, I think.
Perhaps superfluous to the sexy story, but okay.
I'm getting
allow
to it. You'll allow it. Objection
Allow it.
hearsay.
Mega pints.
So, however, you did faff around for, is what I'm saying, 5 minutes, just like putting something on the TV and what have you, because you always do.
Well, we had Playboy Swing on downstairs, so it was kind of a fun thing to carry on. Because there's a bit of porn, there's a bit of background noise, and it's nice to have. I like having something on in the background. Yeah.
Oh God, you're gonna have to jog my memory slightly to remind me who made the first move then when we were on the bed.
Probably you, I
What
suspect.
do you mean, probably me?
Yeah, it's probably you.
I might well have done some kissing
There we go.
at that point.
You might well. You're making.
I'm trying to remember
you're
the
making-
exact minutiae of detail.
Well, what you could say is that you
Yeah.
two started kissing, right? You started making out.
We did.
And then what happened?
I think you then removed her underwear, and I think you may well have gone down on her.
This is like the worst sexy story.
I
I'm not
can't
even
tell
going to.
sexy stories. Why are you making me do this?
Well, I was hoping that you might be able to recall what happened
I can
and
recall
talk
what
about it
happened.
in a really sexy way. But the awkwardness is making even me cringe at this level of revealing.
Stop. Well, it was sexy, trust me, because I was there.
Oh, good.
You went down on her.
All right.
And then, oh my God. And then I complained that you were supremely overdressed. So I insisted that you moved your rest of your clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I played with your cock a bit and then she gave you some head. Is that right?
It's not a quiz.
I'm asking
Quite
you.
frankly, the people listening aren't going to give a fuck about whether this is accurate or not. This is about you setting the tone and the scene of the three-way. This is what happened.
Exactly what happened.
Yes.
Yes, it is what happened. She started giving you head.
Okay, you
And
both gave me head.
I was going to say, then we both gave you head. And I remember commenting that it was like, oh, here we go, another Sunday night and you're getting a double blowjob. How about that?
Okay.
Did you enjoy your double blowjob?
Yes, I very much enjoyed my double blowjob. I mean, the awkward retelling of it is making any niceties fade away rather rapidly, to be fair.
I've got a question for you.
Yes, please.
Just to break up this terrible awkwardness. I have a question for you about during a three-way.
Yeah.
How do you think you ensure that one person doesn't get left out?
So generally, we're pretty good at navigating that quite naturally, I think.
What advice would you give to someone making sure that someone doesn't feel like a third wheel?
Well,
because at some point, there are going to be occasions where just only two people are kissing or one person's doing something to another person. How would you make sure that you're not a third wheel?
I think everyone within that three-way has a bit of a responsibility not to leave anyone out for too long. And you do have to kind of remind yourself that that's going to be that you've got to check back in and you've got to involve people and you've got to move around and engage with people. This, of course, is assuming that your three-way is with two bi ladies, of course, because if they're two straight ladies, it's quite a different story, I imagine.
God, yeah.
There we go. But the way in which we've navigated that is that there's certain points where we sort of sit back a little bit, and even I do that to a certain extent, believe it or not, gentle listeners. And that sort of scene unfold, but actually our partners have been very good at bringing us back in to the fray. So it tends to be that there'll be an action. For example, she might start going down on you for a bit, and that I'll kiss you, or I'll sort of sit back and watch for a moment, or maybe she'll have her hands on me while she's doing that. And there's plenty of ways to sort of encourage a level of interaction throughout that course. Likewise, if I'm going down on one of you, then the other one could be kissing you, or do you see what I mean? There's plenty of ways that you can get yourself engaged. But of course, I think it's also nice to sort of step back for a moment and let that person enjoy that sensation rather than overwhelming them sometimes.
If you feel like you're in a situation with three of you and you are starting to feel like you're being slightly left out, do you think the onus is on you and the accountability is on you to reintegrate yourself?
I think it's really important to remember that you can reintegrate yourself. I don't think it's always your responsibility to do that, but you do have to take some level of responsibility. I think it's really important that your partner is looking out for you and making sure that you're all right. But also, you are a fucking grown adult person. Yeah. So it's, it doesn't take a lot. Even if that involvement is just the stroking of an arm or a kiss, or even just holding someone's head in your lap can be a level of involvement more than just sitting at the side and watching what's going on. That's, of course, assuming that you want to be involved. It might be that you want to take a moment to step back and kind of observe what's happening. But if you like to be involved, then there's lots of little things that you can do that will sort of engage yourself into the situation. And it doesn't just have to be sort of fucking somebody or going down on somebody. It can be just gently stroking them. It can be kissing them, or it can be just actually just making yourself involved. It could be holding a toy, for example, can be a level of involvement that is more than you just sat on the sidelines doing nothing. So for that, I'd say you do have a responsibility, but it's not all your responsibility because you are working as a couple. And also, if you're the third in this situation, I think you also have a bit of a responsibility to try and involve both partners. Of course, there comes a time, or can come a time, when it's quite obvious that one of the partners wants you to do something to the other. Yeah. And you often take this stance of, oh, I'd like to see you fuck him, or whatever it is that you say. And you quite like sitting back at that point and watching that moment.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree.
So I think, there is you have to be a little bit a master of your own journey, but you have to remember that there's three people in that situation. And obviously, if there is a third person in this situation, and you have to treat them like a human and not a sex toy. So it's not about who can get the most time. It's about enjoying each other. That would be my take on it, I think.
Okay.
What would you do? What's your take?
So I'm always very conscious if we're having a threesome, and you're right, it is always with a woman. It's not really ever been with a man apart from one time. I'm always very, very, very cognizant that I don't want you to be feeling left out. And I'm also very, very aware that I know I seek the lady time a lot. Yeah. And if I have to be really careful not to run away with that.
Well, I know once you start going down on a woman, I'm not going to see you again for like 10 minutes, bare minimum. So I know that once you start doing that, I'm like, okay, I've got 10 minutes. I can grab a quick book, a quick snack.
Oh my God, you liar. No, but I'm always aware that I don't want to abuse the privilege that you're allowing me by giving me by letting me play with a woman. But obviously you're involved too. Yeah. And it's difficult because I want the time I've carved out with that woman, because I enjoy that. Yeah. But at the same time, I understand it's the three-way thing. And it should be enjoyable for everyone. Yeah. So I'm always very, very aware that I don't want you to be sat there for too long, and because I'll worry about you anyway, and it's counterproductive. Because
it's bad if I've got a Game Boy out and I'm sat there just playing Tetris for an hour.
Yeah, so I do tend to very quickly sort of suggest things like, if we both go down on you, for example, at the same time, because actually that's quite easy to do. Two women going down on a dude is quite logistically quite pleasing.
It's a lot harder to do with like a man and a woman going down on a woman.
Exactly.
But we'll do it. We've managed it.
You have, but it is it's not the most obviously easy thing, is it?
Well, one of the things I really like to do actually with another woman is sort of both of us go down on you and me showing her how you like me to go down on you.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, this is the surefire technique of getting her there. This is it. Follow me. I've got the plans.
Mm-hmm. The plans.
The plans.
But that doesn't always go to plan anyway. Because, it depends who it is, doesn't it?
Well, it depends on who it is and it depends on the interactions. But it's a fun thing to do and it's one of those nice things to try. How did the sexy times end up in this situation, dear?
The sexy times ended up with me asking to see you fuck her.
Oh, okay. And how did that go down?
You fucked her.
I think while she was going down on you.
Yes, exactly that.
So I was fucking her from behind while she was going down on you. How was that?
Okay, so...
Okay,
No,
holy crap.
I'm going to explain what I mean. In principle, it's a really hot thought and it's a really sexy way of sort of kind of being in this line where I can see your face and I can see what she's doing and I'm lying down. It's very hot. However, in execution, doesn't always achieve what it should in a way because the obvious thrusting from you.
So you mean the thrusting prevents proper technique of going down on you, which prevents you from coming. So you like the idea of it. I love
the idea.
But perhaps as a getting you there motion, unless you're really, really close, it's probably not going to push you over the edge.
Because you're thrusting away and it kind of moves her like in the wrong way sometimes.
I'm sorry, I shall thrust more gently next time.
If you could.
Soft thrustings only.
Just
gentle rockings that were...
May I suggest you fuck her gently?
Sometimes they like the hard fucking.
You don't always have to fuck her hard.
Is that not right to do? We've gone down a...
We have.
Sadly, we are lamenting the loss of Tenacious D.
We are. Logistically, it's not always the right way to get me there, but that's not necessarily why we do that particular position.
Okay.
I know it will get you there. And actually, I like that.
Yeah.
Because I do like to watch that. And I like the fact that it's definitely involving you 100%. And very often that is probably more likely to be an image I'll reflect on again, retrospectively.
Okay.
Than necessarily feeling the feelings in the moment.
So probably a nice thing to be part of, or a sexy thing to be part of, doesn't necessarily get you there depending on the situation and the timing.
But it's definitely nice
a
to think
hot
about
memory that you can relive awkwardly on a podcast.
Not awkward at all, babe.
Not awkward at all.
No, not at all. I'm all good.
Now, interestingly enough, prior to this, we had another potential three-way, and you decided that you were too knackered and going to go to bed.
Well, okay, yes, that was one of the things.
What else?
You're right. I did suggest that you went and played separately with my blessing.
With your blessing?
Yeah, of course. No, I mean, you were both extremely like, no, come join us, like sirens. I'm like, no, I'm fucking knackered, go away. I have enough accountability with myself to understand when I'm not feeling a situation, and I'm not going to spoil it for other people by bringing less energy into the room because I'm not wanting to fully participate. And so I did the right thing, I think, which was to say, look, you two go and play. We're in the same house. It's all good. If I want to come in, I could, because I'm still very much invited. But I was also missing the male counterpart of this particular lady's. I was missing the husband of this couple.
Okay.
Not necessarily I wanted to play with him, but I think I just wanted him there.
Okay.
It was weird. And I kind of missed it. And it just didn't feel like, we've played with this person many a time, like, but as a 4, as a 3. And it's always great. Of course it is. But I just, on that particular time, for whatever reason, I just missed my counterpart there. And I just thought, you know what? You two go and play. I'm not in the right frame of mind.
Okay. Well, that's fair enough.
No jealousy, no issues, no FOMO, no nothing really, other than this is the right thing to do. Okay. Let you crack on. I can hear it if I want to. I had no choice, actually.
So I don't know if you upgraded or downgraded the 3 to a 3-way.
It had the potential to be a 3-way, of course, but I just wasn't really feeling it.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I let you two go and play.
Oh, it's very kind of you.
It was very kind of me, wasn't it?
What do you want, a medal?
You extended it by an extra hour.
What?
It made me really tired.
No, you could have fallen asleep. That's what you'd gone to bed to do.
I couldn't because you were in the next room. I could hear you.
Singing songs and dancing and all sorts of nonsense. No, not at all. None of that.
I knew I wasn't probably going to go to sleep, but I was just not.
You were pretty much asleep when I got into the room.
Didn't have the right energy for the threesome.
But then you did remind us at the time a number of times, which was always fun.
Taking the piss.
So it wasn't taking the piss. I was just taking my time.
Why?
Why not? Why not? I say. Anyway, back to the thought process around rocking a three-way. What are your top tips for anyone looking to have a three-way?
I think it's useful to sit down as a three at the beginning, or as much as you can before any actual sexy time starts, and see if you can at least have a brief conversation about what you like and don't like. If you haven't played before, that is.
Yeah.
Obviously, if this is a regular partner, then great. But if you haven't had sexy times before, then I think it's useful to at least do a quick, so any off limits things, anything you don't like, anything you really like, take time to understand what the three of you want out of that particular play session.
I think, and
you'll get more out of it.
You absolutely will. And I think it saves you the stress of worrying whether someone's going to do something that you're not going to like.
Yeah, because then it spoils everything.
For you, for example, you really don't like choking or any pain or anything, and knowing that is off the table and that they know to avoid that is a really important
And I can
step.
relax and not worry that I'm going to be triggered by something, or that something will happen that I didn't ask for, because I'm being very explicit up front. Please don't do that. I won't like it if you do.
Yeah.
But I think you can also make this conversation quite sexy and quite fun. It doesn't have to be a contract and, like you sign here. It can be form part of your as you're getting undressed, or make it quite sexy, like tell me what you want me to do, and do it in a nice hot way.
Well, I think actually just asking someone what they like and what they don't like, are there any do's and don'ts or any real green lights for you, is a sexy thing to do. And, we referred back to it on the Spicy Island thing quite recently. And actually that evening with the three-way was very much a quick conversation of anything you like, anything you don't like.
Yeah.
And actually that was really hot, because then it removed the stress of wondering about any of these things. And it's a practice that often I find if we're playing with couples, we tend to do a lot less frequently.
I know. And I think part of that is because there's almost a tendency to swap partners sometimes.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes a conversation with that person.
Yeah, rather than you as a group.
But I have another tip.
Okay.
If you want to hear it.
Yeah, just go with the tip, just the tip.
So my second tip is to be brave and ask for something you want during the play session.
Okay.
So if something springs to mind and you think, oh, I'd really love to try this position, because having three people brings a whole new range of fun to things.
It does.
There's tons of things. It's not even about sexual positions. It could just be things that you've always wanted to try, or you think your partner might have wanted to try, and this is the perfect situation because you've got more hands, more mouths.
Yeah.
So, the sky's the limit in a way. So don't be afraid to ask for something that you think you'd like to see, and direct your scene if you feel so inclined. I have done that many a time and sort of said, I want to see this happen, and I would like to see this happen, and I would like you two to do this, or whatever. I quite enjoy doing that.
Yeah, that is something that I'm very familiar with you. But what's really interesting is, I think if you set the scene at the beginning and say, okay, what your likes and dislikes, it's much easier to ask for what you want later on.
Yeah.
Because you've already set what you like, what you dislike. And it's a bit easier to ease yourself into that conversation where you're asking for what you want, I think.
But things occur to you halfway through and you suddenly think, oh, I'd really like to see my partner do that.
Yeah.
And it's only just occurred to me now I've seen the two of them doing this or whatever.
It's just the fact that you always seem to want me to get you a Starbucks. And I'd really like to see Mr. H get me a Starbucks. Right, wait a minute.
Wait. Yeah. What's your tip?
My tip, I think, partly is finding the right person is the first piece, and finding someone that you're both attracted to, that you're both into, and that you're comfortable with exploring some of this stuff. And sometimes these three ways have come from unexpected sources, and they've been partners of other people. Other times they've been when couples that we've known have split up, and sometimes they've just been people from work.
Yeah.
And you just don't know how things are going to pan out. So actually, I think in this situation, I'd say, have a good conversation with the person and make sure that you're all on the same level around your expectations and how it's going to impact you and influence your relationship, just as you would do with any other couple that you're looking to play with. But I think the other thing to remember is, and I said this before early on in this episode, was actually that is another person. You're not bringing in a fuck doll, unless that's their thing, particularly to just to use as a toy. It's a real human, they are a real human being that you are bringing into your relationship and sharing a partner with. And it's really important that you treat them with respect, they treat you with respect, and that everyone's on equal footing. Otherwise, I think it can really damage the single lady or the lone unicorn or whatever coming out into that environment. I think that's a real key bit that I always like to try and keep in my head.
I would say a similar thing, really. Like, if you're a couple, don't place all the expectations on that unicorn or dude, if you bring in someone in, to orchestrate this for you. This is a three-way, and it should have three equal parts of, consent, and everyone should be enjoying themselves without feeling like the expectation is on them to make things happen because you're unicorning a couple.
Yeah, I think that there is something around...
They're probably really nervous as well.
Well, I think, there is something around the safety and having conversations about not only like protection and that sort of stuff, but also the safety of letting your friends know where you are or all that kind of stuff that sometimes that will ease your mind and ease your experience, is having that in the back of your head and looking out for some of that stuff. And also as a couple, making that other person feel safe and secure. And don't forget, if you're going to your house, this might be the first time they've ever been to your house. They might be a little bit nervous of the fact that they're there. So it's having all of this stuff in the back of your head. And it's okay if they say no, as with any of these adventures. Right? Yeah, absolutely. I think the other thing is around having the conversation between yourselves, between your partner and yourself, around what do you want from the experience? What do you expect to see? Because, more communication is not going to hurt you, right? No. And having a good conversation about what you'd like to get out of that experience is a good thing.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think could go wrong in a threesome if you're not careful?
You could end up with an unwanted baby, I guess, if it went really wrong.
Oh my God. So, you've taken it to a weird place.
But that was what can go wrong. Well, that would be it going wrong, I suppose.
Yeah, that would be pretty wrong.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad. It's not a good idea, that one.
No.
Probably, unless that's your thing.
No. Right. Well, let's think of something a little more.
A little bit closer to home.
Yeah.
So I think there is the jealousy can play a real issue, I think, in threesomes in particular, because it is another lady that you're potentially playing with, right? And that often we've heard of people getting slightly worried about the fact that their partner is playing with another lady while they're in the room, and that there isn't an equal footing necessarily. And so I would just be mindful of that, mindful of those feelings coming through as you're engaging in this whole situation. I think there's also that sort of, if you're thinking about going into this situation and you think that you haven't thought it through and you haven't thought about some of the things that could impact you, like the jealousy thing, when it does happen, the way that you react is much more likely to be very emotive and very sort of not irresponsible. I guess it's going to blow up a lot more. Whereas if you've actually considered how you might feel and considered and talked about it with your partner, you're much better equipped to kind of handle it and think it through. But like you say, Mrs. H, when you're in this situation, if you're feeling a bit jealous, it's up to you a little bit to re-engage. And there's nothing wrong with, telling your partner that you need them for a bit or asking things to calm down and slow down. It's very much like going in with a couple, but because one person is the sole focus, for some reason to me, that just seems to dial up the jealousy, I think. Not for me in particular, but from what we've heard with other people.
Yeah.
I would say. Would you not agree? No?
I think people maybe see threesomes as almost like a stepping stone to building up to more
to crack. Threesomes are the stepping stone to crack. To meth.
We certainly started out that way, like looking for a third to join us rather than seeking couples straight away. And maybe, I don't know if it's because it just feels like a more gentle introduction to opening your marriage or partnership a little bit without, the husband maybe feeling jealousy from seeing another man have sex with his wife, for example. So we're like, oh, let's bring a woman in then. That's going to be fine. And for the most part, yes, it probably does feel like a safer segue, but it's not without its issues.
Well,
if you don't do it right.
Yeah, I think anything that you do within this lifestyle comes with a risk. But I think this one in particular, this sort of approach actually is a lot less risky. I think the jealousy, as I said, I think I've seen that flare up more often. And I'm thinking of typically women being more jealous of their partner playing with another woman because it's like a sole focus kind of thing. Unless you're pretty good at multitasking, in which case, it's not so bad. He's just tossing his hair back and being like, if you're absolutely good at multitasking like I am, probably, I can't back that up at all. But I think these situations can drive a lot of high emotions. So it's just whatever you do is you kind of go in with that in the back of your head to make sure that you're as protected as you can be. Other top tips, Mrs. H?
Oh gosh.
Sexy moves. What do you like to do in a threesome?
Well, as I've said, I quite enjoy directing it a little bit and kind of asking people to do things because I kind of like taking charge like that in a threesome.
Like, now, moonwalk.
No.
Do the running man.
Now who's making it unsexy?
Nothing sexier than a moonwalk.
So I probably quite enjoy doing that. It's an opportunity to play a little role in a way without it being like a weird role play.
But what do you like to see? What sort of things? Give people some ideas.
I do like to see you fuck someone.
Okay.
And it's different than seeing that when there's a foursome or more.
Okay.
Because your attention is inevitably diverted by the person that you're engaged with, sometimes anyway. And I can sometimes miss those moments because I'm busy with someone else. Well, it is blinking,
you'll miss it with me. I mean, to be fair.
Oh my God.
But there is that sort of catching those moments when you're with a couple out the corner of your eye rather than being able to sort of take a moment to observe them. It doesn't seem quite as natural doing that.
No. If you sort of like say, hang on a minute, I just want to watch this. You can just amuse yourself for a second. So that is a good opportunity to kind of appreciate watching your partner with someone else in a scenario where you're almost in control of it, which is nice. I also always enjoy the opportunity for some lady time.
Okay.
Personally.
Yeah.
It's always really, really exciting when the woman involved asks or offers or wants to go down on me, or that's always really hot.
Yep.
As much as I love going down on women, I sometimes try not to make that focus for me because I don't want you to feel like, oh, here she goes again.
I think it's not so much a problem, but you do have some previous levels on this.
Yeah, and I am aware of that, so I'm trying to lessen it a little bit.
I think
10
minutes is fine. It's when it's gone into like 20, 25 minutes that I'm like, well, I get what you're doing. This is fun. But no, I'm joking. It's one of those things where I think doing anything for too long in this scenario can.
It's not a threesome then, is it?
Yeah,
it's
just just putting on a show. And I think there is an element of putting on a show sometimes with this stuff. But actually, if you do that for too long, I think very quickly it becomes. I recall a time when we were playing with a single lady and using a toy for quite a while. And I think then it became, it sort of, you lost interest after a bit because that was going on for a while.
No, I remember that, yeah.
And I think it's really important to remember that there is.
It's
great. Well,
hello.
Yeah, hello, you're there. That's nice. Come back into the fray.
I'm here too.
But again, it's that being able to bring yourself back into that situation and support and get involved and all that sort of stuff is really, really important.
So that's one of my favourite things as well, to interact as much as I can with a woman because it's the bit that I always seek.
Yeah.
What else? I do like watching you being pleasured though.
I like watching me being pleasured.
And that's always really exciting to see how someone else pleasures your partner. Not because you're like learning something, but because it's always interesting to see how someone else does that and how you react. So
okay. And do you ever learn anything from watching them?
I've learned that I can't do deep throat. Yeah.
No, you've learned to stop trying to do deep throat. I think is the actual truth of it.
I've learned that is that's just beyond my capability. I can't do it.
You could do it.
It's impossibility.
You need to practice. That's
I don't want to.
All you need is practice. It's fine.
No,
don't worry. It's okay.
No,
I've got you, boo.
It looks profoundly uncomfortable, and I think it might just make me chunder on your cock.
Well, it's no less than I deserve.
Unless
probably.
you're into that, babe. I don't think it's something you want to see.
It's not something that's on my bucket list at the moment. Thank you very much. Chucket list, exactly. So after the three-way, right? You had all these amazing sexy times. You've chosen the right person. You've had the right discussions. You've lured them back back. I mean, gently introduce them back to your place.
Wow.
You've had some sexy times with them.
Yeah.
You've done the various things that are possible. Then what? Do they go to sleep at the bottom of your bed like the dog?
Well, no. Well, not.
How do you like to handle it? Do you like to kick them out with wild abandon?
God, no, I quite like just chilling out afterwards, and that's one of the nicest bits, I think. Just like the afterglow when I inevitably scurry around and get glasses of water and things because I'm always doing that. I always end up being like super busy afterwards and go, oh, I need to do this, I need to get that, I need to make sure everyone's hydrated or whatever. I do like lounging around afterwards, so naked and just all having a little sort of reflect on what we've just done and how nice it was.
Okay.
That's
Would
really
you
nice.
would you say that people should stay in the same bed as you afterwards, or is that weird to you?
It doesn't work for me. I don't think we've ever really sort of discussed that as a shall we do that or not. Now I think about it, have we?
We did talk about it once. I think there was a couple of situations where it was like, oh, if they happen to fall asleep here, it's not the end of the world. But I
I
at
think
the
it
same
depends
point,
how well you know them and how much.
if you've just met them, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
They're totally not going to
And I
steal your
think
wallet.
that's, again, a conversation that you just need to be adults about and have a conversation about. And, you know, if you're entertaining a unicorn, then you should absolutely take responsibility for at least making sure that she gets home safely.
She gets back to a pile of hay and gets some water. And
And we always say, you know, please message us when you're home. We always make sure an Uber turns up or whatever it is that we're.
it's just when they send the text and it comes back unknown number that you know it's not gone
There's a
well.
responsibility, I think, to just make sure someone gets home safely.
I think so.
And unless you're really open to the idea of someone sharing your bed with your partner, then that might work for you. But you need to talk about it first and make sure everyone's happy.
Probably a good shout.
It's not necessarily my wheelhouse because I like to cuddle up with you afterwards and go to sleep with you.
So we just need a bigger bed, is what you're saying.
We have a bigger bed.
And even bigger, we need two of those
No,
in one room. So the whole room is just a bed.
for me, I like to be with you afterwards. That's even if it's just I curl up with you and fall asleep and then we have sex the next day.
So we curl up, you fall asleep, I sneak off into the other room.
And do what?
And chill out.
Oh, wait, is this back to your naked corridor shenanigans?
That was a story, wife. A story I tells thee. So yeah, so I think all of this stuff is stuff that can pop up and that it's probably worth having a bit of a conversation before you actually go along and catch up with someone in that respect. Mrs. H, any final tips for rocking a three-way?
Oh my God, just have fun.
Have fun.
Like fucking have fun because that's what you're doing this for, right? You're doing this because you want some fun and you want some sexy fun and you also want it to enhance what you have as a relationship and all the other great things. But don't forget to just have fun and not just be so nervous and overthinking everything that you don't.
You say on a podcast that's literally been dedicated to overthinking for the last
You
7 years.
overthink.
Well, maybe.
Have fun. If
Do
you're
have
not
fun.
having fun, then you maybe need to check yourself and go, why am I doing this?
Well, exactly.
If you come
Although
away feeling like, oh, I'm a bit shit and I feel really, really bad and I feel really insecure, and perhaps it's not for you.
the way you said fucking fun just reminded me of In Betweeners. It's like, fucking fuck you right in the fucking... Anyways,
Have fun.
Have fun. Have a bloody wonderfully fun time. And you know what else you can do to have a fun time? You can come along to our Neon Dreams event on the 17th
You could
of
have a
August.
threesome there.
You might be able to have it.
Because-
There's no guarantee, but you might be able to have
You
a threesome
might,
there.
because there's single women going.
There are
There's single men
women.
going.
But there's also like things like hot wives. They play separately sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, there we go.
There's every opportunity to have
Plenty.
a threesome, foursome, moresome, orgy, whatever your little heart's desire.
Yes. Neon dreams come true.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity for a new outfit.
But yes, always.
Every party is an opportunity for you to get a new
Well,
outfit.
you know, this is true.
What ridiculous pair of shoes have you bought this week, Mr. H?
And there might be some
Should we
shiny...
talk about those? How can we not talk about those? They're taking over an entire room with the glare they're giving off.
They are some Cuban sort of heels
Do you
with
not
like
feel
a
they're
chain.
a little bit over the top?
Yes, they're
Right.
shoes that are mine. So of course they're over the top. I only have two types of shoes. They're either over the top or they support my shitty feet. That is it. There's no in between. I either live for fashion or I die for fashion on this one. And I can't confirm that or deny if they're even fashion, but I'm going to wear the fuck out of them.
And you're going to look like General Zod.
Well, that's not the intention, but they do make me like an inch taller. So it is like wearing fucking platform heels. So who knows? They're going to be awesome. I'm sure they won't be the most outlandish shoes on the night either.
Really?
I'm quite sure that there will be other boots on display for this particular. This isn't for our Neon Dreams event, by the way. This is for a social that we're going to, and it's like rodeo themed. So they're kind of like cowboy-ish, but Cuban-ish, but
That's a pretty
steampunkish.
pretentious cowboy wearing those boots.
It is. They are the least effective cowboy boots known to man, for they will be
It
dirty
would
in half a
blind
second.
a cowboy maybe in battle
Why are cowboys in battle?
because they're
Well, like
cowboys.
wrangling a cow.
Yeah. You
Take
might be having like a what do I do? We have like a
What?
standoff, don't
They
they?
a standoff.
Where you have pistols at dawn. Is that a
Pistols at dawn. They're
thing?
not
Look, help me out
pirates.
here. I don't really do cowboys and,
Are you talking
and
about, like-
westerns and all that.
You're talking about like High Noon and those sorts of things,
Yes,
yeah.
possibly.
But we're talking more modern cowboys
Oh.
now, where they just wrangle cows
Oh,
and teach like
Right.
rich people how to wrangle cows
oh,
as
really?
an
Is that
experience.
the modern day cowboy.
That's the modern
experience?
day cowboys showing dudes how to do their thing.
I've really only gone back to a concept of, I don't know, Clint Eastwood or.
You're
who's
living in
other
the world of
one?
spaghetti
Who's
westerns,
the
right?
other one? That's John Wayne.
John Wayne.
I'm not a big Western fan.
I know not. It's strange though that you didn't go to like the Tarantino westerns, like Django and
I quite enjoyed Django.
The Hateful Eight and all that sort of
I
stuff.
quite enjoyed that as well.
Well, there we go. So you like westerns?
No, I don't. I like Tarantino.
You said that you like westerns. Either way, the important thing is the shoes are awesome. The light up cowboy hats that I got for us, also awesome.
Yes. Why are you so intent on blinding people with lights and shiny things?
It's so they can't see my face and its hideousness. If I can distract them with trinkets and gadgets and bracelets, then they don't have to worry about my shitty personality either.
There's no shitty person. You're a delightful person.
Oh, thanks, dear. I'm going to keep this. It's going to be my new ringtone. Right. Come join us on the 17th of August for Neon Dreams. We've mentioned it a couple of times. It's going to be epic. I won't be wearing the cowboy shoes. I'll probably be wearing something else that's
I
equally
dread things.
as sparkly. Tickets are in the show notes. Yeah, boy. If you've got any tips on rocking a three-way, we'd love to share them with some other people. So send them in to us at bedhoppersuk@gmail.com and
Watch my TikToks.
we'll talk about them next time. Watch Mrs. H's TikToks.
I've even worked out how to put a link to the tickets in the bio.
Have you worked out how to take the beauty filter
Nope.
off when you film me? Because I've
I like giving you long eyelashes.
my eyelashes are glorious.
Yeah. You look beautiful.
Thank you, dear. But it's like the power of 1,000 butterflies every time I blink. So there is that, I suppose.
Look glorious.
Yeah,
Absolutely glorious.
absolutely glorious. Anyways, we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, send us your tips for rocking a three-way, your thoughts. If you've experienced one, if it's something you're desperate to do, what you'd like to get out of it, we'd love to hear from you. And we may even read it out on air. Not really air because it's just recording, but we'll play it back for you. Yeah. Mrs. H, do you think?
Well, thank you for hopping into our bed.
Got a joke?
As it happens,
As it happens,
I had
Oh,
a
get
feeling.
it, ducky
I had
boos.
a feeling that you would.
a feeling
and-
deep inside, oh no.
I had a feeling you'd try and throw me into the best like this.
Nobody told me all that I was looking for was somebody who looked like you.
So for your information, I do
All right.
have a joke. All right, so you can fuck off
Joke,
with your
joke,
accusations.
joke.
Shh,
joke.
No, don't make it into a thing like that.
What thing?
Like make it like the pressure.
Oh.
Right. No, I hate that song. I hate that song. Stop it. No, I'm not listening to that song. Do you want to hear a joke or not?
Dark night.
No, I hate it. It just drives me crazy. Right, do you want to hear this or not?
Yes, I do.
All right, are you ready?
Yes.
What do you call a Roman soldier with a hair in his mouth?
Go on then.
Gladiator.
That's awful. That's really fucking awful.
Well, we have a wonderful listener to thank for that.
Okay. Is he gonna-
Raging Bull.
Raging Bull.
Yes, he supplies me with many a joke, and I'm very much enjoying it.
Okay, good.
Yes, so
Thanks.
thank you.
Raging Bull.